ship. Sir, it's like something I've never seen before, and it's closing in at a preposterous speed. Wait, this can't be. It's disappeared.
Welcome to an Anson Co live stream. What's up, Chris? How are you, man? Already here with the what's up. How are you guys doing tonight? We are live streaming. I don't have monitoring. I don't know. If you guys can hear me, let me know. Also, if you're just joining the stream, let me know where you're watching from. And we're gonna do some chatting here tonight. Fantastical, brother. I love it. Chris, man, I need to come join your stream. It's been a while since I've joined one of your streams. I know for a while there I was popping in and I have a hair in my head and saying hey, so I need to come hang out for a bit. So hope you guys are having a wonderful was it Thursday night? You know, I know there's been a lot going on here. So OC over here coming from Jamaica. What's up, man? How are you? Are you excited about that LUMIX firmware update? Hell yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight a little bit and just really hanging out. You know, an Anson, if you've joined an Anson & Co live stream before, it's very, we're just hanging out. If you guys aren't familiar, Caleb Hoover, if you're not familiar with the LUMIX kind of crew, you might know Caleb Hoover, you might not. Me and him actually just started a live stream podcast recently. It's called The Unknown with Caleb and Anson, and basically we are just talking about, you know, careers as a creative. I consider myself kind of a at this point, honestly, like a full-time creative, because I have my YouTube channel and that's kind of one outlet for for my creative outlet. And then just started doing part-time freelance. And so, yeah, so probably full-time by this point, but we just kind of talk about life as a creative and monetizing our creativity and the struggles and upsides and downsides of that. And so if that's something that you're into, you should come check out Unknown with Caleb and Anson. And if I remember, I'll put it in the description after everything is done. But yeah, we've been doing that. And I don't know where I was going with that story, but I was going somewhere with the story. We were saying, or I was saying that, like, you know, these can kind of go all over the place and kind of chill and hang out. And that's kind of what that podcast is too. So, Chris coming from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. You know, every time somebody says anything about Canada, specifically like the Edmonton or Alberta area, I always have to mention that the only reason I know where that maybe remotely is because I'm a giant professional wrestling nerd, and half of professional wrestling comes from that area. A really good local area too. I'd love you to pop in, man. I got a stream all fixed. No more buffering issues. It was my router. Put it on a switcher. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So we got PR Islander. Hello. This is Angel from Florida. Hello. Yeah, if you're just joining the stream, let me know where you're streaming from, where you're watching from, as we kind of get everybody settled in. Everybody come in and hang out. Pull up a favorite beverage here. I've got I completely over poured my bourbon, so I've got a little too much in here, but hopefully by the end of the stream it won't backfire on me. So come in, say hey. OC says, I'm here working on a reel. Sweet. I've updated the S5 II, but not the S5 IIX just yet. So far, so good. The LUMIX Lab full functionality is what I've been waiting for. Honestly, like, That's been that was a huge thing for a lot of people, because if you use like the S5 2X, when I think it was the fall of last year when they made it available for Lumix Lab, you kind of were stuck between two different apps, which is the Lumix Sync app as well as Lumix Lab. And now everything is integrated. And I remember, because they talked to me about it when we were in Japan, of eventually it will get to Lumix Lab is going to do everything, but it was just a matter of time. So 50-50. I love it. I'm 50-50 creative construction. I think I'm good with that. Love building and love filming. Absolutely. Can't beat it. I love being able to not put a ton of pressure on filmmaking and doing it for the art of it. So if you guys are coming in, like I said, just come say hey, stop by, say hey. We'll read off your chat and as we talk about a few different things. New studio here, or new set. It's actually not the new studio. It's the same studio I've had for the past, or same kind of office space I've had for the last 3 years now. There was a little bit there where I was filming from my office, or where I work in my daytime. But this is just a different corner of my home office, which is really nice, because I was telling Caleb, I was like, the benefit of having a home office where I, film YouTube stuff is that I'm actually waiting on my wife to put my kid down to bed, and then we're going to hang out. And so I was like, I want to come hang out with my friends. So Jamie, bro, I cannot find your LUTs on your website. Oh, it's a funny story about that. Are you talking about the black and white Dane LUT? If you've watched a video where it says Dane LUT is available, so my website did something really weird. So sometime in the last couple of years, we kind of downsized finances a little bit. And one thing that I cut off was paying for my website. And I didn't realize that when I would do that, my website basically would like get rid of whatever product was like the last on the list of all my products. I figured it's one of my top sellers. Why would you get rid of that one? And so, yeah, I need to put that back up. Hit me up on Instagram. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. I need to get some of my LUTs onto Lumix Lab. If you're not familiar, I don't know if Lumix wants me saying this, but a little bit of a hack is the fact that if you aren't using Lumix cameras, you can technically still download Lumix Lab, and they have some amazing LUTs. I'm not using a LUT right now. This is actually straight out of Camera Colors from the FP. But the LUT that I'm normally using is actually a in-house LUT from Lumix. That's their Dark Knight LUT. And that's actually available on Lumix Lab. And so if you're a Lumix user, definitely download that one. Honestly, if you're not a Lumix user, see if you can still do it. So yeah, I like what they have LUTs wise. The best part of all of this is being your own boss 100% of the time. 100%. I'm not there yet. I still have a 9 to 5 and report for duty, so to speak. But yeah. But one day, the dream. I use the Dane LUT for all my black and white. It works with my Blackmagic and Lumix cameras. That's amazing. I need to, I debated on taking the Dane LUT as is and where it is right now, and putting it on Lumix Lab. But I think when we were in Japan, I got some feedback that it was just very contrast. Like it had a heavy contrast. And so it kind of like shied me away from thinking I should just go ahead and drop it on Lumix Lab. But I need to tweak it. I need to tweak it, or just go with it and know that's going to be a super contrasty black and white. And that's one of the reasons why I loved it to begin with, is the fact that it does have heavy contrast. And so, but thank you. So yeah, Lumix Lab is officially part of something that you can use on pretty much all of your phase detect cameras now. If you guys haven't watched my video from yesterday, it's doing extremely well. So hopefully it's showing up on all of your suggested home pages on YouTube. But I did a quick run through of some things that have come to the S5 IIX, the S5 II, the GH7 and G9 Mark II. And I can do a quick rundown and we can kind of get to some questions. And I may even pull up that video and the comments from that video to source some questions. But a couple of things, kind of key highlights. Definitely go watch the video if you want to know where in the settings they are and things like that. I have the camera with me, but I just have the one angle here. But a couple of key points is, for me, priority number one is multiple frame guides. That's super dope. We saw it on the S9, and I'm really happy that it's on the S5 II and S5 IIX and GH7 G9 Mark II. Some multiple frame guides, full integration with LUMIX Lab, as we mentioned a second ago. So you can now do remote filming, remote shutter, all of your remote functionality that you had previously with the LUMIX Sync app. That's all being handled through LUMIX Lab. So there is that. You have a couple of different new updated tracking features for autofocus. So that's been updated. Now with the S5 IIX, you have planes and trains, I think it is. And you can do different parts of the those different vehicles. So you have different tracking. And then you also have MP4 Lite, which is dope. I used MP4 Lite the other day. We were at my office space, and we try to help them out doing some social media stuff every once in a while. And we had a function, just like a get together. And I just wanted to do a quick turnaround. And so I threw on the Dark Knight LUT on my S5 IIX with real-time LUT, and then turned on MP4 Lite. And dude, it was a dream. It was a dream. Like I shot with it, delivered it to the photographer I work with, and no problems. It's super handy for like those times you just need to do a quick post. I think that was the big things. Extra small. There's an extra small picture size now with the update. So a couple of things in there. So those are kind of some of the features. Again, if you watch the video, there's potentially how to get to them in the settings, and I think I even include some MP4 Lite from the S5 IIX, some footage there. Not the most cinematic footage, but that's kind of the purpose of MP4 Lite if you just need a social media post. But a couple of things I wanted to get on, and if people are on and want to ask questions, it's actually one of the reasons I started like a couple seconds late, is because I sat down, I got comfortable. I was like, okay, I feel this. I'm good. And then I realized I didn't have the S5 IIX with me. I was like, I need to go downstairs and go get this. And that was like 30 seconds until we started. And so it is a thing. So OC says 9 years in my 9 to 5 for sure. It sponsored my filmmaking in the beginning, but now it feels like a burden at Construction Cronies. If you shoot weddings, I'm here as a second shooter. Look to move to Winnipeg. Dope. Hard task though, for sure. And honestly, like I can't complain. Like my 9 to 5 is actually kind of funding my filmmaking as well, or not really fund. I mean, it's funding it because that's where the money comes from. But it's giving me projects to work on for sure, because like I film a podcast. If you're curious of the podcast, it's the FinTech Combine. It's a financial technology podcast geared towards small fintechs, but also partnering with credit unions and kind of the partnership there. And so if you're a financial tech person, go check it out. It's a blast. And then, so I do that for the company primarily. And then recently we went to a convention, and while we were there, we filmed testimonials for the company. All my production, took 2 S5 IIXs with 2 Sigma lenses, a very minimal light kit. I've been meaning to make a breakdown of that shoot. But we had a nice backdrop of Chicago for those testimonials. And so, yeah, it was a real lot of fun. So, I mean, that's all with my 9 to 5. And so, I mean, like best of both worlds, right? Where, you have a steady paycheck, but also can, itch the creative itch, so to speak. So I can't complain. Chris says, no way are you an Edmonton OC? I should documentaries. In short films, I have a couple of construction companies I shoot YouTube videos for, but mostly self-produced films. I'll let you guys chat it out. So yeah, LUMIX firmware is live. If you go to the support site, you can download the update there. I think you can actually download the update through LUMIX Labs, so that would be handy. I did want to field a couple questions that I saw from the video I posted yesterday. One being that the first thing that came up is, did the firmware sneak in a fix for autofocus in full HD? I spoke to my LUMIX rep, and his response was, there's nothing official, but for all intents and purposes, the autofocus should be, except for intentionally the tracking that got updated, all the autofocus should be the same as it was before the update. So I with all that being said, I believe that means the full HD autofocus issue has not been resolved. Somehow I think the S9 doesn't have an issue with phase detect autofocus in 1080p, but the other cameras do still. And I think it's even in just high frame rates. Jeff, what's up, man? Dude, Jeff, I need to give you, I don't know if we've talked. I think we maybe talked. You might have come in the last time I gave a stream, but you know what? I'll do it again. Props to Jeff, man. Like, you have blown up on the platform, and I am here for it, dude. You are killing it, and I love it. What's up, Jeff? Jeff, are you going to NAB? If so, we need to hang out, because I'm about to buy my tickets. I have a place to stay, bought my tickets. I registered already. Yeah, if anybody, for that matter, is going to NAB, I should talk about this more. If anybody's going to NAB, come say hey. I'm not working a booth this year. It's all self-funded. That's why I'm flying Frontier. I'm going to pay like $175 round trip, maybe a little more if I do a check-in bag. $175 round trip, staying in a house with a couple of dudes. And yeah, self-funded, because I want to come hang out with everyone. Last year was a lot of fun. I want, but the problem with last year is I worked a booth. And so it prevented me from kind of just hanging out with people. I want to go hang out at the Sigma booth for a while, hang out with FP enthusiast. I want to go hang out at the LUMIX booth and hang out with LUMIX enthusiast. I want to go hang out with Jeff and all the other YouTube creators that you get to meet over there. So I love NAB. It's a infectious fun time. Back here in Jamaica, back here in Canada. Last time, okay, you guys are chit-chatting. Let's see. Thank you, my bro. 100% dedicate to my Mac Mini content. Dude, I think you were the final nail in the coffin. I'm actually on a Mac Mini right now. And I think you were the nail in the coffin for me of getting the Mac Mini. So, yeah, it's dope. I got the baseline. It's doing me well. I think sometimes, like, especially with like the FP's Cinema DNG codec, it kind of like struggles, but so did my 2019 what I have 2019 Intel iMac. So I figure it's probably like, if anything, like a lateral move. And I had my iMac just completely crapped out on me. I think it's a logic board issue, but completely crapped out on me. And I just did not want to spend money on a computer. And so I saw a couple of different people's Mac Mini videos, and I was like, you know what? This is the perfect solution. So I'm on it right now. I'm on the fence about NAB because I have another convention that's the day after in Chicago. And let's be real, Chicago, in my opinion, is a way cooler city. I mean, I will be happy if you're there, but I completely understand. It's definitely warm here in Jamaica. How often do you shoot full HD? I don't know if that's to Chris or to me. I'm going to go with me. Sometimes. Lately, and this is kind of where a part of this, because I have this like titled a little bit differently as far as like, let's talk about the Lumix stuff. Let's talk about anything really, but I did want to talk about, I am more and more shooting the non-raw codec on the FP. Just because like I'm loving the colors coming straight out of camera. I don't have to do a ton to it. The only time now that I film in full HD is if I want high frame rates, and I almost never do high frame rates. So usually it's all right now 4K, 4K 24. If I'm wanting to save space on the FP, I'll do 4K 24 UHD, maybe all I, not the raw codec, but if I want to go full, I'll do raw. For the Lumix, and I think that may be pertaining to I see where this is coming from, because I did say that it didn't solve that. Yep. I never shoot full HD with a Lumix. I was actually seeing Dustin Armstrong a little bit ago stream. He was like, honestly, if I want to shoot high frame rates and have good autofocus, I'm just going to go 4K, like 4K 60. And yes, there's a crop, but not a deal breaker for me. So yeah, that's very true. I think if I'm trying to like do a review and I want something in like ultra slow motion with like the GH7 where it did like 240 frames per second, then maybe, but very rarely. I will honestly shoot more at full HD on the FP than I will my Lumix cameras, just because there is no high frame rates in 4K on the FP. It's solid, man, but it definitely depends camera use. Oh, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, it handles. And the render time on it is insane, because talking about the Mac Mini, the render time on it's insane, because like I'll throw up something that will, and like on my old computer, it would take like 8 to 10 minutes to render. Now it's like 3 to 5 max. 3 to 5 max. And like that's not like crazy, but at the end of the day, like if you're trying to do a couple renders for a YouTube video, like it makes a difference. So I am not mad at all about owning this computer. The only thing that bugs me is I need to figure out a better solution for like organization of the computer, because I'm using an Asus monitor, and basically the Mac Mini sits on the foot of the monitor, and it just kind of keeps on moving around. And I don't want to like use like I know it's sacrilegious probably, but I don't want to use like sticky putty or anything like that. It's just that my OCD is like every time it like moves and it doesn't like perfectly line up with all the edges, it just drives me nuts. That's the only thing that drives me nuts about it. Does really well with R3D B-Raw and Sony, so I'm not complaining. But I can see how this. I mean, everything struggles with Cinema DNG. Let's be real. Everything struggles with Cinema DNG. I'm having issues connecting S5 2X to Lumix Labs. What kind of issues? What's going on? So yeah, no, the autofocus in full HD is not resolved. There was a couple of other ones. You might have already experienced or seen, like with Lumix Lab, with Lumix Sync, you didn't have the ability to view or see your viewing LUT on Lumix Sync. Unfortunately, that's still the case with Lumix Lab. I don't know why that happens. I don't know why they won't let you view your viewing LUT while you're remote filming, but that is still a thing. Bluetooth will not connect. Have you tried you might try the try the Wi-Fi connection. See if it will connect via Wi-Fi. That's how I've done it, because I always connect the same way I did with Lumix Sync. I always connect via the Wi-Fi, not the Bluetooth. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Hang on, now I have to check. We're gonna do some live troubleshooting. I'm gonna try not to fall out of this chair. There are currently books holding up my chair because this left front leg is about to give way. Okay. So only gives you Bluetooth. Interesting. All right. So I'm on Lumix. All right. How did I set up LUMIX Lab to begin with? All right. Actually, you know what? I don't think I set up my S52X. I've only got it on the beta. I had the beta, sorry. I had the beta, and I've only connected my S52X to the beta. So, perfect scenario. So I'm actually going to pair my computer here. I wish I could show you this. So pair with computer, or sorry, pair with camera. Turn on Bluetooth. Oh, it does say turn on Bluetooth. Okay. Go to pairing, add new device. Okay. Then pair. Okay. So it's not. Huh. I don't want. Let me table that. Do me a favor, Jamie. Hit me up on Instagram, and I can talk to the people I have contact with to see what they may recommend. I don't know if it would be like a reset of your camera software, or potentially an update of the app itself. Yeah, no, yeah. Now that I see that, it's not a Wi-Fi connection. So, yeah, hit me up on Instagram, and I can do a little bit of digging, because yeah, it should have you connect via Bluetooth. What is it doing when the Bluetooth comes up, or is it just not giving you an option in the settings? Okay, awesome. Yeah, hit me up, and you can answer the question here, but also if it still is continuing, just let me know. But yeah, so one thing I like about it too is, so now let me turn this back on. So not only do you have the ability to, still thinking. Typically, when you turn on your camera, it should recognize it immediately. But let me try to restart the app. It's funny. I did a B-roll, or some B-roll of opening the LUMIX Lab app, and somebody noticed that was right next to a Five Guys app. I was like, good call, good eye. And so, phone is connected, but not in labs. Interesting. Was hoping to hear you talk about the FP, but have to jump off. Please keep up the great work. PR, what'd you like to know about the FP, or what would you? So I am going to definitely talk about the FP a little bit on this one, but if you need to go, let me know. Or if you need to go, that's fine. And you want to chat about it, let me hit me up on Instagram. But I will say, so if you are here for the FP, I think I said this already. So I'm streaming on the FP. You can actually stream from the FP using the USB-C cable, but I'm actually tethered using the HDMI from my monitor, so I can just see what my focus looks like, because I'm using cine lenses. But this is I changed it a couple times. This is out of camera, the Foveon yellow color mode. I honestly, I really like it. I've been using teal and orange a lot lately, and I have been honestly shooting a lot of 8-bit I mentioned this a second ago, but 8-bit non-raw, and actually applying the LUMIX Dark Knight LUT in post. I would say for my last 3 or 4 YouTube videos, that has been my go-to. And it is, I love my FP. I love my FP. It's fantastic. You know, it's funny how many, how often people are like 10-bit, 10-bit, 12-bit, 12-bit, 14, whatever. And I'm like, I like the 8-bit of this. I don't know why. I mean, if you want a more robust codec to grade, awesome. But the thing is, I don't even need to grade this half the time. Like, that's the lovely thing about a camera with actually good color science is you can actually use it straight out of camera. So it's been my go-to. I'm very happy with the 8-bit. Honestly, so I've had the FP since 2019. And I haven't really embraced the 8-bit until maybe this past 6 months to a year. And what took me that long was the fact that I was watching a Sigma stream, and people were talking about there were people that were doing like fashion projects that were using the 8-bit, and they were talking about why, and it was just turnaround. The colors of out of camera are fantastic, and so the turnaround is a lot faster, and you can go and use this codec that's not as hefty on your computer and have really good colors. Now, will sometimes you have run into banding if you start doing a little bit of grading? Maybe. But honestly, like I have been super impressed. I was telling somebody the other day, this is the year of me not using SSDs. I don't want to use SSDs unless I don't have to. And so so that means that for the SD card, I'm either going to be shooting in 4K 8-bit RAW if I want to use a V90 card, or 1080p 12-bit if I want to use a V90 card. Or I'm going to shoot in the long GOP or the all eye profile, which is what I have the camera in now. And so I've kind of been shooting in all eye, and it's absolutely stellar. What's the streaming software used now? This is StreamYard. As far as what's doing all of this. But as far as the FP, what's going on the FP, I have the FP with my Sigma Cine lenses. I also am using my Module 8 tuner. You can kind of see the oh wow, it does something really weird on the light here. But if you're not familiar, I've said this before, but the Module 8 just degrades the image a little bit, give you that more vintage look. But I have it on the 24mm T1.5 from Sigma. And that's going into my Sigma FP is going into a OC Lilmon 5, and then just the output from the Lilmon 5 is going into the stream. And the Lilmon 5, like if I have a LUT on there, or if I have I'm in a black and white focus peaking right now. I'm not going to try to do some weird mirror shenanigans, but I'm monochrome live view right now, so I can see my focus peaking. And so it's just outputting what's coming from the FP. So it's been working. It's what I use for the podcast recently. And honestly, I was using teal and orange, but I really like what this Foveon yellow is doing with the highlights. It's kind of giving that green highlight, almost like a little bit of a teal and orange look, a little bit of like that old vintage look with it. So this is the looks a bit blurry. Yeah, that's the Module 8. So it's you're talking about in movement, bit blurry in movement. It might be just my poor internet. The Module 8 will also make things look a little soft. I debated. I was like, do I want to like have things be soft? And I had it on there I've been doing a lot of my product stuff recently with the Module 8, just to give it that like, a little bit of chromatic aberration, a little bit of, just that non-perfect look. So I had it on there from the video I just finished. And I was getting ready to stream, and I was like, I don't really want to swap this out for the Sigma PL adapter. So Module 8 it is. And honestly, like by the time I use the Sigma adapter, the PL adapter, which gives you that clean image with the PL lenses, by the time I use the cinema lenses with diffusion, you're almost getting this look anyways, but you also get a little bit of funkiness. Like if you look at my hand right now, it's that focus fall off changes. The bokeh, the out of focus areas are being changed by that Module 8. So I'm a big fan. Oh, hi. I know you. Hi, Jess. How are you? Am I a little bit better lit this week tonight? Jess just joined our podcast. The podcast I was talking about earlier today, or earlier in the stream, The Unknown with Caleb and Anson. So, Jess, hello and welcome. You just put out your first vlog today. Well, kind of first vlog on YouTube. Go give Jess some love. So yeah. Well, actually, so this is a good like community involvement. If you're just joining the stream, because I titled this both Lumix and Sigma FP, let me know if you guys, or for that matter, what are you guys shooting on? Let me know in the chat what you guys are shooting on. Much better. POV, not vlog. It's not a POV. It's a vlog. Oh my god. Oh my! I can't stand you right now. So Jess is my the photographer that contracts me, as we have called it now. We are not business partners. She is the photographer that contracts me, unless our boudoir project. I feel like that's a little bit more equal rights there. G9 Mark II. Did you upgrade? Did you get your firmware upgraded? Congrats. Hopefully you like it. That's the one phase detect camera that has evaded me. When I first started working with Lumix as a creator, I asked them for a G9 Mark II, and I never got a response. So that was the only phase detect I have not used. Jamie, S52X, GH5, GH4. Ooh, you went with the S52X, not the GH7. Honestly, I would have to. Jess says, oh, come on. Because she knows she shoots with Canon. We're among friends here. We have people that shoot everything. We have people that shoot Sony, shoot Canon, shoot Blackmagic, shoot Red, shoot Lumix, shoot Sigma. We have everybody here. I've been doing this channel for 7 years. I've talked about a lot of different cameras. Not yet. Looking forward to it. Justin, what feature, or if you've watched some of the things about the firmware update, what feature are you most excited about? Canon all the way. I like your Canon. All right. I would say, aside from my little FP, has some of the better color science. I'd say like Lumix, FP, and Canon. I mean, I think color science sometimes can be subjective. Unless you suit Sony, then it's just objectively bad. Sorry, Jeff. Newer Sonys are a lot better. Justin says MP4 Lite. Honestly, like I didn't think people liked MP4 Lite as much as they do. And like it's a feature that I really appreciate too. Because Jess has me do social media for her all the time. And I get to give her small files rather than big, I'm not going to use the word girthy, but big files for the content. So MP4 Lite is fantastic. What are you drinking? At this point, a very watered down, because my huge cube has now melted. But a very watered down Woodford Reserve. I'm my fave. Definitely not the one that I got recently. That is terrible. FML FM Lotro. I think that's going to be the name there. S5 Mark II, but I walk by my GH5 rig every day and just reminisce. Dude, GH5 was ahead of its freaking time. And honestly, like that's what got me into the Lumix ecosystem. I've come and gone from the Lumix ecosystem every once in a while, but the GH5 was my first Lumix camera, as was probably most people's first Lumix camera. And where would I go from there? I went from GH5 to the Blackmagic 4K, or the Pocket 4K. Then I went Pocket 6K, somewhere in there, about the FP. And then I sold the 6K after the 6K Pro came out, because Blackmagic just like their customer support lost me. But went to the S1H, realized that I like the FP a lot. This is my story of my path here. but realized I liked the FP a lot and stopped using it as my A camera and felt like I had too much. I had the S1H just sitting on the shelf and I felt like it was not getting enough use to justify being in my ownership. And so I sold it to someone that is in some of the Lumix Facebook groups. We kind of traded. He gave me his S5. I sold him at a heavy discount the S1H. So I got the S5, sold it because I knew the S5 II was coming out. Or at least like I think at that point I wasn't working with Lumix, so I didn't know, but I had heard stirrings. So I sold the S5 II, kind of stayed off of Lumix for like 6 months until the S5 IIX came out, and that's kind of where I've been for the last year and a half. And aside from like the FP is like my baby, like I love this camera. But my workhorse is 100% my Lumix S5 IIX. It's what does my podcast. It's what does any sort of like corporate stuff that I do at work. It is the workhorse. And I love the image that comes from my FP, and I find myself loving the image just as much for different reasons for the S5 IIX. And they are very much two different tools. And I love them for everything they are. And like, I talk about my cameras like they're my, second and third child. But like I've never had a fleet of cameras, a fleet being two, that I have been absolutely content with and not have like, I have a lot of friends that are trying out Black Magics right now and getting Pixis to try out. And like, I could probably email Black Magic and try to get a Pixis to try out and like, see, that would be cool. And that may get some views. I just don't want to. Like, I'm in a place where like, I am fully content with the cameras that I have right now. And there's something to be said about that. Like knowing your cameras, knowing how to use your cameras, knowing how to get the best out of your cameras. Like, I get comments all the time of people being like, you've, gotten every ounce of usefulness out of the FP that I've seen. And that is an accomplishment for me, because like when this camera first came out, people were dogging on it like crazy. People still dog on it. But over the course of time, it really has just like, it's aged like a fine wine. And I know that's kind of a cheesy way to say it, but like over the course of time, people have started to realize, oh man, the colors from this camera, like the things that this camera offers, like it's something that no other camera offers. And while it is like one of those niche kind of like annoying at times, like workflows or what have you, like people, there's a reason why people love it. And the same can be said for the S5 IIX in a different way though, because it is, for that matter, the S5 Mark II, because it is genuinely a workhorse camera. And like it has a beautiful image. There are times where I'll go do behind the scenes shoots for Jess. Like I'll follow her around some of her shoots and do some BTS, and I'll put the real-time LUT on and shoot. And honestly, that's some of my favorite footage. And that's just like, that's baking in, that's trusting the camera to have really good colors and really good everything to bake in those colors. And that's a camera that I fully trust. And same thing with both of these cameras. Like it's weird how sometimes like you get really attached to your gear. There are tools, but at the same time, like get to know the tools that you work with. I mean, like how often does like this might be a bad example, but like, Chris, I'm sure you have a construction tool that like is your go-to construct. Like you may never get rid of it because it's like that one tool that's like, this is my baby. Like every person that works in art or anything with their hands or uses tools has that like thing that they have almost like a weird emotional connection with, and weird in the way that like maybe we shouldn't have an emotional connection with an object, but at the same time, like everybody has that. And so these cameras are that for me. And now I've talked entirely too much about my love for my cameras. Oh, Chris is getting a Pixis. Dope. Really thought about it versus the FP, but want to get into PL Cine lenses. FP is a really nice cam. Honestly, like there are some times where like I don't recommend the FP for a lot of people. It just like, yes, it has a beautiful image. Yes, it has like so many things I love about it. But like, I also understand that I'm going into this as like part of my job as a creator is this stuff where I have the ability to spend a little bit more time to set up a good shot, work on lighting, be more, thoughtful about my, what I'm doing versus like a run and gun scenario. So like like if you're making documentaries, I would personally make the FP work because I love the FP and I know what it offers. But there are so many different cameras that can do a much better job with documentaries. So no shade at all there. No shade. I love how my viewership just dropped because I'm talking like about my cameras like they're again my children. Hello from French Overseas Department called Guadeloupe in the Caribbean. How's it going? Yeah, if you're just joining the stream, we'll probably stream here for maybe like another 15, 30 minutes, something like that. So if you're just joining the stream, let me know what you guys are shooting on or where you're watching from. Come say hi. Come say hi. Chris says, yes, 100%, of course. Yes, everyone has that tool. They just like, this is my, like the wrench that was passed down from my dad or something, or that thing that like my it's funny. Oh no, I don't have my pocket knife on me. Where is my pocket knife? Oh, I'm wearing different jeans, never mind. But like my pocket knife, I want to get to a point where my pocket knife is something I passed down to my daughter, and I realize girls don't play with pocket knives, but like my girl does. Or will. Not what I'm not getting in trouble with this. Anyways, I love bestowing things that are in my life onto her and like, opening her eyes and not necessarily like bucking the norm. Like if she wants to own a pocket knife or own like these EDC things that are normally for dudes, like I'm going to let her do that because I love her and I am here to cultivate whatever she wants to be. But I want to be able to one day like pass down my pocket knife because I love my pocket knife. This is taking a weird left turn, but know your tools and maybe sometimes love your tools. I am a hobbyist and bought my S5 2X a few months ago. It's my first serious camera and I don't regret buying it, even though it's a bit big and heavy. Should have gone with the S5 or S9. I'm just saying. No. The S5 2X, here's what I love about the S5 2X. Some cameras, especially with like the landscape of how camera people are right now, feel the need. They have to rig up their camera, have a V-mount battery, have a monitor, all the stuff. Like the FP probably needs that on longer shoots. But like the S5 2X, like I will take it to a wedding and just roll with the camera and a battery and a lens and maybe a shotgun mic. That's it. And to me, it's actually really funny because like the FP, for as small as it is, the way that I use it oftentimes is a larger setup than my S5 2X. And so I love the S5 2X because of the stabilization, of the ergonomics. It can be a little bit big at times if you're used to like maybe like a Micro Four Thirds or some of the other like crop sensor cameras. But overall, I do feel like it has a good balance. But good call. Justin says, get to know your tools. Get to know your tools indeed. The FP is a special camera, not for everyone. It is a special camera, definitely not for everyone. I have gotten to where like I've felt comfortable to recommend it more and more as, the information's out there. People aren't going in blindly now. Whereas like if you had been recommending the FP like 4 years ago, there wasn't as much information on the camera out there. I think everyone that's getting this camera now is probably well aware of some of the shortcomings that the camera has. But that being said, it is one that you have to take time with. And if you don't want to take time on with a camera, don't get the camera. Like that's probably my recommendation for that. I'm still learning how to use it, but can see that it has great potential, dude. Yeah, honestly, if the S5 would you say the 2X? Yeah, the 2X. If the 2X is your first like serious camera, like you will be able to grow into that thing hardcore. Definitely, put in your minutes, put in your hours. What is it? Put up those reps. You'll get used to it, and it will be an amazing camera to grow into for sure. For sure. Jamie says, I gave my GH5 to my 9-year-old and she loves making short films. That's amazing. That's amazing. I keep on selling my cameras. I need to not sell my cameras. And I actually did pass down a couple of one of my, I think my GoPro to my daughter. This is the level of commitment I have to my cameras. I'm like, here, maybe use my GoPro. Hi, I want a lens the wide. I'm gonna say you want a wide lens. What are you shooting with? Are you shooting Sony, Lumix, Sigma? What are you shooting with? There's a lot of good wide lenses. Very good. Oh, we have a follow-up. Hey, I want a lens that works on full frame 4K 60 and it should be wide like 16, but I don't find just crop using my S5 IIX. So you want the equivalent of 16 millimeters with 4K 60. I honestly, it'd probably be this lens. Hang on. It's a lens I have on my S5 IIX right now. This is the Sigma 10 to 18. So 10, I think, could be 15 millimeters. So a little bit wider than what you're looking for. But it will go all the way up to 18, which crop would be close to like 28, I believe. So, and it's tiny. Sorry, I didn't have it in the frame. This is what I get for using a cinema lens. But yeah, that's the 10 to 18. Has a little bit of like barrel extension, but that's what I use for vlogging, or anytime I want wide angle stuff. This is my go-to, and it's fairly inexpensive. I got mine used for like $400, I think, $300. But you could probably find, and I think I got it through Sigma, so I think they kick back a little bit. You could probably find it pretty reasonable, but I would do that, the 10 to 18, especially if you want something small. Like, it depends on what size you want. There's also the Sigma 16 to 28. That's actually a full frame lens. This is a APS-C lens. So you would only be able to use an APS-C mode, which is great for 4K 60. But if you want to at all use it for full frame, the Lumix is going to automatically put it in APS-C when you put it on the camera. My Sigma will let me decide for myself if I want to use it in APS-C mode. But I think at 18, you can still get full frame out of it, maybe with a little bit of crop. I think even 16, to be honest. I went with this one because I didn't want the price of the full frame lens. And I wanted a smaller lens, and so I went with this one. Thank you, because I need it for clubbing reels. You could see crowded. Oh yeah. If you want something small, discreet, go with a 10 to 18. Might not. It's a 2.8, so it might not be the best for low light, but with the S5 IIX and the second base ISO of 4000, you should be okay. You should be okay for the most part. Outside of that, outside of that, what's a good wide angle? Honestly, you could probably look at some of the Sigma primes. Oh yeah, they have like multiple primes. They have the 14 1.4. So that would be good. I think they even have a 16 1.4. Let me double check on Sigma's website. Sigmaphoto.com. All right. Oh, by the way, y'all, 20% off of Sigma Cine lenses. I think they might be doing some stuff. I don't know yet, but I think they might be doing some stuff with their Cine line. With as much as they're putting out those all right, I don't know what I was trying to say there. DCDN. Nope, I want DGDN. So they have, oh man, that 14 T15 cine lens is amazing. All right, DGDN. So they've got the 14-1.4, the 15-1.4. That's a fisheye, and 17 f4. I don't think they have 16, but yeah, I would look at either the 10-18, the 16-28 if you want full frame, or if you want something that really fast. It's a little bit expensive, but the 14-1.4, it's a little bit beefy. It's a little bit expensive, but that is a high speed 14 millimeter. That would be my go-to. All right. My wife GX85 sensor gave out. I think it's just shows purple. Oh, that sucks. What should we do? GX85, wildly underrated, quickly became my fave travel cam and third angle for interviews. Replace it with a GX85. That would be my go-to as a GX. Just buy another GX85. If you love your camera, you love your camera. Which one is the GX85? LUMIX GX85. Is that a okay, yeah. It is an interchangeable lens. I forgot about that. I don't know why I thought it was a point and shoot. I mean, for an interchangeable Micro Four Thirds camera, I can't not say you should just go to a phase detect camera like the G9 Mark II. But if you want to keep the price down, just buy another GX85. That would be my thing. If you love a camera enough, it doesn't matter if it's an older camera, just rebuy it. People forget the S series camera, even all the way down to the S9, share the same color science as the VariCam. Mind blown. You can create some amazing stuff with it in 2025 for sure. I do think someone put out a video. I think the color science is a little different. I think it's based off of the VariCam. But yeah, it's amazing colors. The only thing I don't like about my Lumix colors is the skin tones out of camera are often too magenta. And that's just preference. I rather have a look like this where it's a little bit more on the green tint side. I know that makes you look sickly. It just, to me, it makes it look like old film or like an old aesthetic. So I always have to tweak my skin tones. Like I tweak my skin tones more with Lumix than I do my Sigma. But yes, it is the colors that come from the S series cameras are some of my favorite, if not my favorite, for a kind of like everyday camera. I can't say my favorite because honestly, I love the color science from the FP, but my Lumix cameras very close second, sometimes first, very close second. Yeah, Justin said I have the GX85 as well, still use it. I mean, honestly, like I think that's something I was wrestling. When did the GX85 come out? How old is that camera? I don't know why I am tripping up on the like which camera this is. GX85. Let's go to Wiki. Oh, no. Okay, Wikipedia doesn't have it. Anyways, older cameras, they're just that. They're older cameras. They may not be as like modern specs, but like I hate the tech part of this niche where like, and it's funny because I talk about most of these new cameras, but like you really like when you get, and this is what I was saying a minute ago, when you get to a point where you enjoy a camera, just fucking use it. Sorry, I didn't mean, yes, I did. Just use it. Like it doesn't matter how old it is. Like I'm using this is my original FP. I bought a second FP body and sold it because I was looking to do more freelance drone work, and so I bought a DJI drone. But this is my original one from like 2020. Like the ports don't work all the way. Like but I love the camera. I will never stop using it unless Sigma comes out with another camera. Chris, well, I was just talking about our S1H S5 exchange there. Talking head looks great, bro. Thank you. This is This is FP straight out of camera with was it the Foveon yellow color mode with my Sigma Cine lens with a Module 8 tuner. Chris, have you toyed around with the Module 8 or looked into it? I don't know if we've talked about if you're a fan of like clean aesthetic lenses or if you like a little to dirty it up a little bit. So I want to start using Vlog, and I'm afraid to mess the thing out. What's your advice? Shoot when in a low circumstance situation. Practice, put in your reps. Shoot in a scenario that is similar to what you shoot in normally, and just put it through its paces till you get familiar with it. Honestly, like that's one reason why when this is one thing I've loved about shooting the out of camera colors, the 8-bit colors that come from the FP, is it has forced me to dial in the stuff I don't normally dial in with RAW. If I'm shooting RAW, I don't have to think about like what my lighting is. I mean, I do have to think about it, but I don't, I think about my lighting, but I don't necessarily need to think about my white balance or some of my settings, because like RAW, I can always bring up the exposure, bring down the exposure. I can change the white balance, but like limiting yourself to something forces you to be better at that thing a lot of times. And so I would say for you to get familiar with it, again, just find a low stakes. That's the word I'm using. I'm looking for a low stakes scenario that you can kind of mimic what you're shoot primarily and film that. And that will get you a little bit more familiar, more comfortable with what you're going to actually shoot it with. Cause I think, if you're doing more low light stuff, honestly, sometimes I don't recommend Vlog for low light stuff because it is very noisy in certain circumstances. And so if you're using like a standard profile or you're using real-time LUT, then that may give you a little bit, it may add some contrast. And so it may not have as much noise, or you can maybe even add noise reduction in the camera. But it may help with like scenarios where you have a very shadow heavy situation with brighter lights, having a little bit better handling the highlights and the dynamic range with it. So for that, I would say toy around with it, see if it works for you, but definitely start with a low stakes scenario and work up from there. I'm interested in module. I love my Sigma lenses on Komodo and Fuji, but sometimes I want character that post can't fake. Well, does tuner make you lose a stop of light? I don't think so. I don't think it does. Like I'm at T1.5 right now. And I genuinely think like if I had my passive Sigma adapter on there, it would be fine. But yeah, man, like this is the L1. And you may have been on one of my streams before, or like over on Instagram where I played around with it, but like this is L1 at like, I think I'm like midway through the tuner. But if I were to, that is, I think 1. So that's sharp. Center sharp. I still got some chromatic aberration here. But if I were to crank it to like 10, you can see like that gets soft. Like that looks like an old vintage lens. So I love it for that. I love it for that. Like I can take my Sigma Cines. And honestly, I got to the point where my Sigma Cines were collecting dust, especially with my autofocus lenses because I have the S5 IIX. And this has breathed new life into my Sigma Cines because this is the 20 I use the Module 8 with my 24 and my 50 because you have to get rid of the rear. There's a rear portion of the Sigma Cines. You won't have to do it with like EF, but like the PL, you would have to get rid of the rear part to use it. My brain. And I've only done that with the 24 and the 50. So I've only used it, but dude, like it really adds something. And like super, like I think it's worth it. I think if you're looking for something that has character, If you want something that has like a little character with a little bit of vintage, I may look at the L2. That's supposed to be the K35 one, and that just kind of like does some weird stuff with the bokeh. It gives it that like onion bokeh for the lights. But it doesn't do much past like T2.8 or F2.8. This one I love because like it can dirty up the lens, but like I can stop this down. Like this is at T1.5. Like this is wide open. That's why it's very soft. But if I were to stop it down, the effect is a little less. I'm getting a little dark, but the effect is a little less. But it still has like something going on there. Like it still has some ugliness going on there. And then like, and you can even see like, look at that light up here, like what that is doing to the light there. Like it just does some weird stuff. And I love it. So if you have your Sigma or your, because I think you have the EF lenses, if I remember correctly, if you have those, definitely check out the Module 8. I think it's well worth it. And what's nice too is like, one, just to give you an idea, like I'm running through the stops right now of the Module 8. There's no light shift, and it's parfocal. So as I change the degradation or the degree that the Module 8 is doing, it's always in focus. It's going to be in focus as long as I get focus from the lens itself. So it's you know, even the EF one's a little expensive with what, $1,000, something like that. Thankfully the PL one, I don't know what happened. I think B&H mistyped the price, and I bought it for $1,000, which they're normally like 2,500. So I was pumped to see that. But I'm so happy I've gotten it. So yeah, if you have your Sigma primes and you want to dirty it up a little bit, L1, L2 is going to give you a little less dirty with a little bit of bokeh. L3 is going to be a little bit more like stigmatism, give you that anamorphic look. If you want like a DIY anamorphic, I would do like L3 with like a flare filter. A driver says, "Thank you so much, mate. I should go right now. I have tomorrow a whole day shooting. Have a good night. You too, man. Have a good one." Jeff says, "There was a deal on the PL Module 8 for bit. It was a crazy discount." Yeah, I don't... Wait, was that intentional? Like even Module 8 had them for like $1,400, but B&H literally had the L1 PL tuner for $1,000. And I was like, I don't know what's going on here. But I'm gonna buy it and see what happens. Like the whole time, like it's in shipping, I'm like, this is 100% the EF one, and they just like maybe have the wrong SKU, and they're gonna send me the EF one, and it came in with the PL, and I was like, holy cow. So yeah, I mean, I'm been really happy with it. Like all my product shots recently have been with the Module 8. So I've been really happy with it. And it's funny, I actually, like after I saw your video on the Module 8, Jeff, I reached out to Module 8. I was like, hey, are you guys interested? And they like hit me up the day that I ordered it. And I was like, hey, I actually just ordered mine. I'll do a review. Maybe if I do a review, you can send me like the L3 or something. Because I'm really interested in the L3. But they were also going to, I think, send me the EF. And I was like, I don't really have any EF glass. It's all PL. But one thing I like about the PL2 is like you have the interchangeable lens mounts. So now I have it on L mount, which is nice. So yeah, no, Module 8, Sigma FP with the Sigma Cine lenses. Chris has got a comment here. Jeff is fantastic. Yeah. So anyways, so big news in the world of Lumix users. Have the firmware. Chris, does this point, do you have any Lumix cameras? I know we had talked about this yesterday, I think in Facebook groups. Yeah. So yeah, Lumix cameras have got some cool stuff going on. Yeah. Jeff, they only do loaners anyway, so you didn't miss out. Yeah, I mean, I'm used to loaners. Like half the brands I work with do loaners. I have a couple brands that are sending me stuff now that I get to keep it, and I'm a little excited about it. So I'm pretty into it. Chris says, I've been doing some investigate. That's a big word for me with a bourbon stuff on my new dock. One thing I learned from the last is a small camera will get the best stuff. I love the Pocket 3 in my pan camera, low profile for sure. Sorry, I butchered that comment. I definitely poured myself too much bourbon. Yeah, small cameras give you that, like, you get to steal shots and get to be low profile, especially small cameras with stabilization, which is one reason why I would do like maybe like the FP with like the Lumix 28 to 200. Like that thing is stable, man. Stable. Chris says, I've got the dude, I have something on my chair that keeps stabbing me. I've got my Sigma EF lenses, decided to sell my 24-35 f2. Yeah, okay. That's fair. I wasn't like always crazy about that lens. And grab the 35-1.4. Amazing lens. And haven't decided if I want the 24-1.4. So I'm on it now. Like, so the 24-1.5 is modeled after the 24-1.4 optically. So I'm on it now. Honestly, there's two reasons why I bought this one, right? I bought this one because originally, out of all the Sigmas I've seen over the years, this one flares beautifully. Like if you hit it just right, it flares so nice. It's the one Sigma lens that I feel like they didn't control the flaring a ton. It's very similar to like the 18-35. The 18-35 flares beautifully too, has a nice like orbs and everything. The 24 does that. And then like the minimum focusing distance is fantastic. I don't know how it would be on, I can't say it would be the same exact way on the photo version, but it's fantastic. Like if you watch any of my recent videos, like the wide angle, like macro stuff is all with the 24-1.5. And a lot of times I'm not even using any sort of like diopter or something like that. There are some times where I'll use diopters to get a little bit closer, but it's fantastic. Like I love this lens. I didn't use it for the longest time, and I just started using it on my YouTube videos. And honestly, I love it. It's one of my favorites in the set now. I use it way more than my 85. I did the update and connected to labs easily. Sweet. That's awesome. I know we were having some issues there, so I'm glad that worked out. Yeah, it's a spy-like camera in a pen. What? Okay, so you were not mistyping and saying pan for Panasonic. Okay, pin camera. Interesting. Okay. I feel you. Bro, sold my Evo. I'm so sad you sold the Evo one. The S1H got two Komodos. Damn. Sold my BGH1, GH7, and G9 Mark II, and Micro Four Thirds lenses. No more Lumix stuff. Got an XH2S and an XH2. So far, so sick, and it grades so good with the red. Interesting. I've always heard though, like the Canon RF cameras are better for reds. So I'm intrigued to see that you went the Fuji route on that one. But I'm sad to see you go. I'm happy that you got Komodos. Honestly, like with Komodo's price going down, I thought about it for a second, and I've gotten too much. I've literally gotten too much where I'm more hybrid than I am video right now. Like I love like most, if you watch any of my reviews lately, it's all like hybrid. It's very photo and video, and I never thought I'd be that person because I've always been heavily video, and so I'm always like, oh, let me get a cinema camera. I'm honestly at a place now where now that the freaking Komodos are relatively affordable, I don't want a cinema camera. I want a hybrid camera. So that's why going back to like the Lumix and the FP are perfect for me. I love my 7200 2.8. Hell yeah. One of my favorite. I have it right here. It's too far down there. It's on the floor and I'm too far up. It's a beast, but I lift. That is the best flex right there. Like My lens is so big ass heavy that but I work out. It's good. Bro, I sold my 18. Hold on. Chris, we've got beef. I sold my 18 to 35 when I sold the Eva, but man, I should have kept it. I know you should have. You should have talked to me. I would have talked to you to keeping that. But I could use on the Komodo and now the Fuji. I don't know if I should get it again. Yes, 100% you should get it again. Like hands down, you should get it again. Yes. Yeah, the 1835 is too cheap to not keep it at this point. 100%. Don't do what I would do and get the Cine version, because that like defeats the purpose of the cheapness. But I love the Cine version too. And then sell it if you leave video for sure. I will trade you 1835 for a Sigma EF lens. 35. Ooh. We got maybe some deals going on. Canon RF lenses typically need lens correction, so I try to stay away from 18 to 30. I don't know what the follow-up was that one. The Sigma 24 to 70 2.8 EF is my favorite lens, even though so many reviews say it sucks compared to the DGDN models. But man, I think it's dope. The softness is actually a good thing. What reviews are you watching? No, I said that in a very attacking kind of way. I genuinely mean that. I've always heard great things about the EF version. Like I know Joe from Driven Films used the EF version. He loved that lens, especially on the Komodo. Tell me which review you're talking about. I'll go fight him as the Sigma non-ambassador ambassador. Nah, bro. Sorry. Oh yeah, that's fair. I'm buying it again. If it's not in your cart by the time I finish this bourbon, we have failed you tonight. I'm buying again. That's all I needed to hear. It's getting my EF. I'm getting the EF. The Cine version is over my goodness, my camera. Yeah. I'm going to stop reading these comments because I poured myself entirely too much bourbon. I'll DM you. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you should never get rid of the Sigma 18 and 35. Like if you have cameras that could shoot with it, honestly, I only use full frame cameras at this point, and I myself am constantly thinking about buying the 18 and 35. Maybe now less that the 28 to 45 is out. But there's just something so good about the 18 to 35. It's the price point, it's the image quality, it's the flaring, like it's all the things. Like that is such an amazing lens. Like I love it so much. Yeah, like even now I'm like, should I get this? I might have to get it with you. Chris, are you messaging me right now? Oh no, that's somebody else. It's 9:48. All right, guys, I'm gonna go hang out with my wife. I think the kid is in bed. So we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys for coming out and hanging out with me. I love this. I love that to get to talk to you. Like I want to do this more. I want to do live streaming more. It's hard to find time. I've got like 1.5 million things going on. But I want to do it more. That was dumb on my part when I got the Komodo. I thought, damn, but now the Fuji and everyone has the 8 number. Yeah, okay. Yeah, then you absolutely need the 18 and 35. Justin, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. Enjoy the firmware on the G9 Mark II. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about the firmware, I know we didn't get. Yep, that's my key light. That's my cue. Did it really just die? That's what I get for getting my key light on battery. All right, you guys have a good night. If you have any questions, let me know. Comments below. Everyone have a good night. Peace.